Hey everyone, and welcome to Toy Station. Today we're going to be playing Small Soldiers, a really cool throwback game from 1998. This game was made by Milton Bradley and was based on the DreamWorks film of the same name. Small Soldiers is a two-player game. The game has two teams, the Gorgonites and the Commando Elite. The goal of the game is to get all your opponent's fighter pieces into the toy store, or capture the enemy flag by placing one of your fighter pieces on your opponent's flag spot. Contents included in this game are as follows. We have the spinner. Our first Gorgonite is Archer, the noble leader of the Gorgonites. Next up, Frankenstein is a monstrous mismatch of spare body parts. Third Gorgonite up is Slamfist. This guy likes to wield his giant boulder just like a sledgehammer. Now we got Insaniac. He's a wild risk taker with a crazy laugh. Fifth Gorgonite, Punch It. He's not only a gentle giant, but he's all muscle too. Last but not least, Ocula, the creepy one-eyed monster that can climb anything. And let's not forget that Gorgonite flag. First up for the Commando Elite, the one and only relentless leader, Chip Hazard. Second up for the Commando Elite, Butch Meathook, sniper pilot and head of reconnaissance. Next up, Brick Bazooka, the tough and brawny artillery expert for the Commando Elite. Next up, Nick Nitro, the explosives expert. Fifth guy up, Link Status, a very wired communication specialist. And last but not least, Kip Killigan, the trained assassin who's skilled in hand-to-hand combat.
Victory!
Also included is one catapult with launcher and ball. Little too far. Knockout! Fail! Nice! Also included is a special pair of small soldier dice. We also got power cards. First power card is a weapon +1. Second power card, weapon +2. Also armor +1 and vehicle move +1. We got the vehicle move +2, the global recall, and the launch catapult. The weapon +1 card adds 1 to your fighter dice roll. The weapon +2 card adds 2 to your fighter dice roll. The armor +1 card adds 1 to your fighter dice roll. The vehicle movement +1 card adds an additional movement space to the spinner number. The vehicle move +2 card adds an additional 2 spaces to the spinner number. The Global Tech Recall card is packed with power. But don't be fooled, you can't use this card to win the game. If your opponent only has one fighter on the board when you draw this card, it's really good for nothing. Like I said before, you can't use it to win. However, if your opponent has more than one fighter, you can remove any enemy fighter from the board and put him in his side of the toy store. If the fighter has a card under him, discard the card too. The last of the power cards is the launch catapult. This is the fun one. You draw this card, load the catapult with the ball, place it off the board on your side of the spinner, pull back, and launch to shoot. Remember, you only get one shot to knock the enemy, so make sure it counts. Any fighters or fighter that gets knocked down gets picked up and placed on his side of the toy store.
Speaking of the toy store, let's assemble it. Now, let's set up the pieces. Now that we got the board set up, we're ready to play. Allow the youngest player to begin the game. Start by spinning the spinner. If it lands on a number, move your fighter piece in any direction, but make sure it doesn't land on another fighter piece. If the spinner lands on recruit, take one of your fighter pieces from your side of the toy store and place him on your green space. If the green space is occupied, do nothing. If the spinner lands on draw a card, follow the card instructions and place the card under your fighter. The exceptions would be the Catapult and Global Tech Recall cards. Those go in the discard pile.
When two opponents are squared off next to each other, they can choose to fight. In order to fight, each player takes his die and rolls. The player with the highest number wins. Please note, if a fighting piece is on a card, be sure to add the card bonus to the fight. Also, the skull on the die is equal to a 6. The loser of the fight is placed back on his side of the toy store.
Now repeat these steps until there's a winner. Good luck!
The Global Tech Recall card is a pretty powerful card, though it can have a way to backfire. You can't use this card to win the game. If your opponent has only one fighter left when you draw this card, do nothing and discard the game. Discard the game? Just leave the game there, take off running down the street.
Yeah! Ultra, baby!